Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm back and we're going to do some Minecraft today, so let's get going. So what we have here is I basically come up with a new concept for the way I sort of give tutorials and the way I supply things. And so what we're going to do is sort of a mixture of two things. There will be a tutorial later on. This building probably looks familiar if you're an old subscriber, but there'll be a tutorial in a little bit, so check down the description to see where you want to skip ahead to. But for the moment we're just going to deal with schematics. So basically, in the description, you'll find a link to a download which contains schematics for all these files. And I'm going to start doing this from now on whenever I do a building. So at the moment, you will find that you will have basically this world as well as a bunch of schematics. Now, if you don't know how to use schematics, it's pretty simple. There's a bunch of different programs that use them. But you can just look that up, or if you guys really want me to, I'll do a tutorial. But yeah, down below, you're going to have basically a pack of 5 houses. And now these are all basically the same house. But just with variation. So over here we have the basic one, and if I just give you a quick tour around inside, you can see it's not furnished, but quite sort of simple. Little 3-level thing, got a nice little window, and yeah, basically this is going to come in 5 variations. So while this is the basic one, you also have a short version, and this is basically if you just want to add more sort of variation to a big line of houses. There's a dark version, which is using slightly different materials, a bit of moss, gravel floor, everything's slightly darker, slightly dingier. There's a bright version, which is, I suppose kind of the opposite, slightly more upper class, got, some nicer materials inside, the walls are made of nicer things. And then we also have a fake version, and the idea behind the fake one is if you're using any of these buildings in like a cityscape, basically, yeah, this entire thing is filled with stone. So if I just break it, you can see it's, completely full up with stone. And the windows are made of glowstone so that, you have something to look at as well as it lights up your city at night. And the doors are notably iron so that you can't break through them. But yeah, that's about it. I'll give you a quick tour of the actual basic house as well. So in all these schematics and in this world file, you're going to find a book in your inventory, which basically lists all the materials that you're going to need. So if we take a quick look at this one, you can see I need 50 wood 1 logs, which I'll explain in a second, 81 cobble, and so on. Basically, the reason behind the wood 1 and wood 2 is to add a little bit more variation. So you can see we have wood 1 logs and wood 1 slabs and stairs. And in this case, for the basic house, that's going to be oak. But if we go inside, you can see that the planks on the floor are made from wood 2, which in this case is jungle. And each of the other houses has their own sort of variation. So we can see that this one is spruce and there's dark oak on the first floor. So yeah, we have a little bit more variation with that, but you'll find it all in a book in your inventory when you open up this world. So yeah, basically that's sort of the list of materials required. So yeah, that's about it. It's a quick handy pack, and I'm going to be making a lot more of these, so hopefully by the time you get them all, you'll be able to just sort of drag and drop a city together. So yeah, that's about it. So let's get started with the tutorial. Okay, for starters, basically what we're going to do is to make a 3x3 plot. Leave a gap of 6, which I think that was 6, yeah. Come up by 3. And then we are going to leave a gap of 4, which I think that was. Yeah, I'm getting terrible at judging these. Basically, these are going to follow a similar sort of program to my original tutorials where everything's going to fit within a certain plot. So if you remember right, my original tutorials were 16 by 16. And that was good, but the problem was it didn't really allow for too much detail, especially if you wanted to do a smaller building or something. You're kind of confined by having pretty big plots. So basically for this sort of series, this segment with all the schematics, these are all going to be 8 by 8 or sort of larger powers of that. So it might be 16 by 8 or even 16 by 16 again. But basically the idea is that you're going to be able to sort of slot all these together afterwards. So yeah, basically we are going to designate this to be the front of our house. So we're going to knock a door in here and knock a door in here. And now what we're going to want to do is do the ground floor first. So you can just see I've just used oak wood, or in the case of whatever house you want to build, it's going to be wood 1. So it could be oak or spruce or whatever. And then just fill that in with cobble. And now I'm just going to come around put in some door slabs, which are just double slabs, but you know, usually you just put 2 stone slabs. Then what we're going to do is fill in the entire floor with jungle wood planks. So let's do that now. Sorry, I got a new mouse, so I am going to start misclicking occasionally. Okay. So yeah, that's jungle wood planks, or wood 2 in the case of whatever you want to use. You'll notice I've left a gap in the wall, so if I just come down and find some stone slabs, or stone bricks, basically this is going to be the chimney, or the side of the chimney later on. So what we want to do is now make basically a ring of double stone slabs all around the top here. So this would be at height 4. And then if you're doing the shorter variation of the house, basically what you want to do is just remove this layer entirely across here. That's the only real difference in the houses. But you know, it looks kind of cool. So yeah, now we're going to take some wood 1 slabs, which in this case is going to be oak. And we'll place them, stairs. Place them upside down in this sort of arrangement. Now we're going to want to get some slabs and basically fill in the gaps. So if I can find some here. So we'll fill in those gaps, and then we're going to start building the second floor, which is again just using the same type of logs. So we're just going to come up by 3 in each of the corners. Then what we're going to want to do is on the side that's basically not the chimney, you're going to want to do the exact same thing on this side. Now we're going to want to place some horizontal logs going across, so easiest way to do that is just to build one up and then delete it afterwards, like that. So basically that's going to give us our frame. We'll chuck another 2 blocks on top of that, and then start filling in the gaps with cobble. So let's do that now, very quickly. And basically the other side of this is going to be basically the same, except for it's going to have a chimney in the middle. So if we just bring this up by about 5, I think, until it's level, so whatever that is, 6. We're going to build this out a little bit, just so it all evens out nicely, and then fill in the rest with cobble as well. Now for the front and back walls, what we're going to want to do is make sort of a wattle and daub type looking material. So depending on your own texture pack, that's basically what's going to sort of designate what you're going to make it out of. For this, I'm going to use white stained clay. I'm using the Conquest texture pack, and it looks quite good in this. So we're just going to build up the front and back walls, leaving some room for windows. Of course, you don't have to follow these to a T at all. This is just sort of my suggestion for a basic house, and then the idea is that you can add all your own variation as much as you want. We'll put some more horizontal logs on top of that, just to give it a nice frame. And then yeah, that's basically the frame of our house. I'm just going to start filling in the roof and talk a bit more about the schematics. So basically the idea behind having a pack with 5 different, well, not very different houses in them, is basically to sort of allow you to, like I said earlier, you know, mix things up and add a lot of variation, even though you don't really change your design. And that's sort of, I suppose, what I like to see people doing is you don't really need to come up with a completely original house every time. All you need is a little bit of variation, enough to sort of set it aside from your other house, your other houses, I should say. And probably not in this video, I probably won't have time, but later on I will show you just an example once I've got a few more building packs out, so that you guys can sort of play along. What I'll do is basically just show you, just by creating, you know, basically, you know, 5 or 6 types of building, you can actually very easily sort of make a pretty good looking town or city. You know, it's honestly not too tricky at all. You really don't need that much variation. Another thing, of course, is that at the moment I'm doing this on a flat world, so you know, everything's going to look slightly more uniform than it would in Minecraft. The idea is you want to sort of stagger it depending on what your terrain looks like. So that's the basic structure of the house complete. So what we're going to do now is come inside and do the second floor. And what I like to do between floors is to have slightly different types of wood. So the bottom here is jungle. So what we're going to do is make the stairs and the first floor, or you know, whatever floor is above ground, depending on who you ask. We're going to make that out of some oak. So even though the roof is made of oak, we're going to have another floor up in between that, so you won't actually be able to really spot it. Now we're also going to want some oak wood planks for here, which I believe, yeah, they go there. Chuck one of those, and then what we're going to do for the ceiling, just to give it a little bit more detail, is make it out of slabs. Ceiling or floor, depending on your perspective. So this is just going to be oak wood slabs, and then I'm not too sure how much we want over here, but basically what I always just do is, yeah, if we put one more, I can't walk down, so we want to just leave that open. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that floor. For the next one, we're going to use some jungle wood planks just to mix it up again. Jungle wood slabs. And we're going to put the floor level about here, just so there's enough room upstairs to sort of move around and, you know, basically have extra storage space, even a bedroom, depending on what you want. Now the packs, or the schematics in the pack down below, they are not, furnished. And the main reason for that is most people just like to furnish their own houses. As well as that, I don't really see the point of, you know, sort of doing it myself when not every house is going to be the same, and that just, I think, makes it a bit more uniform. So one of the kind of optional things I'm doing here is adding in a little skylight. So that's just basically that, you know, actually get some natural light going into the attic room or upper floor. So we're just going to do that like that. So that's pretty much it for the floors. Next thing is details. So we're just going to want to put in a couple of doors. So we'll chuck down on the ground floor. I like to put them on the inside so that when you're looking at it from the outside, you know, it sort of breaks up the surface a little bit. So we're going to do that, and then same on the back. And one of the cool things about having a chimney is you can put a furnace in there and it looks, you know, like it should be there. And we're also going to want to add some fence posts just to the upper floor. So if I can find some fence posts. So yeah, what we're going to do is just add these in like this. Now for the windows, you can pretty much use whatever you want. You can use glass. I like to make my building slightly more realistic for the time period. So glass would be a bit too expensive to have in like your standard person's house. So I tend to either put fence posts or iron bars. The standard schematic or the basic schematic in the pack below, that has iron bars, and I think the dark one has fence posts. But you can pretty much mix and match as you like. In the materials list, it just says windows, so that sort of gives you an idea. It can be glass or iron bars or whatever you want. So you want 6 of each. And now if I can just find some jungle wood, because I left out this little section here. We're also going to want a ladder to get up to the 3rd floor, and we're only going to need 3 of those, so that's pretty handy. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we'll add in our final window. And that is pretty much all she wrote. That's the basic house, and just in time because it's just starting to get dark. So yeah, that's pretty much your basic house. I know it's very similar to one I did before, but I just figured I'd introduce you guys to the schematic with something that's pretty familiar. So yeah, that's all for me for now. So thanks for watching, and see you guys soon. Bye.